Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel and tap the notification bell. I would appreciate it majorly. The whistleblower complaint has been released, redacted. Even though there's not a lot redacted, and you know, obviously, it depends where you line up. Everybody knows I've sort of gone, I'm not with Trump anymore, and I haven't been for a long time, you know. And so, but I do think he's got some problems, dude. He does, and it doesn't matter if he's successfully like impeached. That's not what this is going to do. Is it's just going to build and snowball, and it's going to drain resources that would otherwise go towards positive things for him, and namely his reelection, big time. So it's just gonna suck the strength out of all his people, the ones that remain loyal and his campaign, and that's the other big problem. I'll get to the most important parts of this whistleblower. I'm just going to cruise through it. I'm not spending any great time on this. But his one other big problem is he's running out of friends. He really is, and that's the problem you have when you basically sort of conduct yourself in a way where you just kind of like just treat everybody like complete shit and just screw over everyone. Even if it's not like we're all adults. We can handle getting screwed over and stuff. It's not like I'm just saying. When you do that, I mean, eventually everybody hates you, and they're not unhappy when you go down. So, anyways, but I do think he's really got some trouble here, dude. I just don't see how. I mean, they're putting a brave face on it, but this is just going to expand. So let me just get right to. I think the most critical part of the of it was this, and this was what was reported first. Basically, efforts to restrict access to records related to the call. Supposedly, I'm going to paraphrase and then I'm going to really quickly read through it. It's only a couple paragraphs. That these calls apparently they get recorded in some way. I mean, I don't know if a human being is physically writing it down or what, but it gets recorded word for word. To the best of my knowledge. And then it gets archived somewhere on different systems. And it seems as though there was an effort to have this particular call recorded on a system that it normally wouldn't be recorded on or archived in. And so basically diverted to a different system that's normally reserved for things that are of real national security sensitive matters, and it looks like in an effort to hide it, and and supposedly this whistleblower, is getting that information from multiple sources within the White House. So there's people that are close to the president that are working around him. That's who that is. We have no idea. We're going to find out maybe though, that are telling this whistleblower person this, multiple persons that are giving him this information. Basically meaning that there may be people that the president, he thinks he can trust, but he can't trust. I don't know if I'm right on that or not, but so that's one issue. And then I'll go into this ongoing concerns, and then just sort of, that's it. That's all I wanted to go over here. But I do think he's got trouble. I really do. And, so in the days following the phone call, I learned from multiple U.S. officials that senior White House officials had intervened to lock down all records of the phone call, especially the official word-for-word transcript of the call that was produced, as is customary, by the White House Situation Room. This set of actions underscored to me that White House officials understood the gravity of what had transpired in the call. White House officials told me that they were directed by White House lawyers to remove the electronic transcript from the computer system in which such transcripts are typically stored for coordination, finalization, and distribution to cabinet-level officials. Instead, the transcript was loaded into a separate electronic system that is otherwise used to store and handle classified information of an especially sensitive nature, One White House official described this act as an abuse of this electronic system because the call did not contain anything remotely sensitive from a national security perspective. I do not know whether similar measures were taken to restrict access to other records of the call, such as contemporaneous handwritten notes taken by those who listened in. Naturally, this is where that's going to be the debate, whether it, I guarantee you that basically Trump supporters, Trump himself, is going to say that there was national security information, sensitive national security information. That's why they did it, guaranteed. So, but that's where the argument's going to center. But I'm telling you, that's an issue. So because there's multiple sources that were concerned about that. So basically, the House, whatever it is, I don't know what they're about to testify right now. The DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, McGuire, Adam Schiff's committee. They're going to want to speak to those multiple persons within the White House that relayed this to him. It's going to expand. Ongoing concerns. On July 26th, a day after the call, U.S. Representative for Ukraine negotiations Kurt Volker visited Kiev and met with President Zelensky and a variety of Ukrainian political figures. Ambassador Volker was accompanied in his meetings by U.S. Ambassador to the European Union Gordon Sondland. Based on multiple readouts of these meetings recounted to me by various U.S. officials, Ambassador Volker and Sondland reportedly provided advice to Ukrainian leadership about how to navigate the demands that the president had made of Mr. Zelensky. I also learned from multiple U.S. officials that on or about August 2nd, Mr. Giuliani reportedly traveled to Madrid to meet with one of President Zelensky's advisors, Andriy Yermak. The U.S. officials characterized this meeting, which was not reported publicly at the time, as a direct follow-up to the president's call with Mr. Zelensky about the cases they had discussed. I think that's the Biden and the CrowdStrike, if I'm correct. Separately, multiple U.S. officials told me that Mr. Giuliani had reportedly privately reached out to a variety of other Zelensky advisors, including Chief of Staff Andriy Bodan and acting chairman of the Security Service of Ukraine, Ivan Bakanov. I do not know whether those officials met or spoke with Mr. Giuliani, but I was told separately by multiple U.S. officials that Mr. Yermak and Mr. Bakanov intend to travel to Washington in mid-August. So, and then there's one other statement down here that, but it's some of this this is the whistleblower's word. So you can't just automatically. It's not as though he's necessarily saying exactly what was said. So during this same time, multiple U.S. officials told me that Ukrainian leadership was led to believe that a meeting or phone call between the president, Trump, and President Zelensky would depend on whether Zelensky showed willingness to, quote, play ball, unquote, on the issues that had been publicly aired by Mr. Lutsenko and Mr. Giuliani. This was the general understanding of the state of affairs as conveyed to me by U.S. officials from late May into early July. I do not know who delivered this message to the Ukrainian leadership or when. See enclosure for additional information. Mr. Lutsenko is the prosecutor general, something like that. I think that's essentially the equivalent to our attorney general, who I think President Trump expressed, confidence in, and to the president of Ukraine, saying that he should remain as prosecutor general. But actually, this quote, the fact that that's quote play ball, I actually, let me amend what I was just saying. I think that actually means somebody said that used those exact words, play ball, in quotes. Somebody did, whether the president did or that was in another discussion. It's not exactly clear. Let me just read it one more time real quick and then just go over who Lutsenko is and then end this. During the same time frame, multiple U.S. officials told me that the Ukrainian leadership was led to believe that a meeting or phone call between the president and President Zelensky would depend on whether Zelensky showed willingness to play ball on the issues that had been publicly aired by Mr. Lutsenko and Mr. Giuliani. Mr. Giuliani. Does that mean one of those persons said that? That kind of sounds that way, or the ambassador, Volker or Sondland. I don't know. It's just not totally clear. I don't want to read through this whole thing word for word. So Lutsenko is the president also praised Ukraine's prosecutor general, Mr. Yuri Lutsenko, and suggested that Mr. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, might want to keep him in his position. Note, starting in March 2019, Mr. Lutsenko made a series of public allegations, many of which he later walked back, about the Biden family's activities in the Ukraine. Ukrainian officials purported involvement in the 2016 U.S. election and the activities of the U.S. Embassy in Kiev. All right, well, that's the main, I think, the main most important ingredients of the whistleblower, complaint. And I do think this is going to go somewhere. I understand that people that hate Trump, they're getting super excited about it, and that doesn't necessarily mean jack, but I do think that it's got a ways to go. And this, I think, definitely added to it. It's building, no question about it. And Trump is just running out of friends, man, and that's a big problem for him. That's the story there. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.